My seat had been erased from the family photo. The photograph I found in Dad's study, no, I should call it Josh's room now, was the same angle, same composition as the one displayed above the living room fireplace. But the crucial difference was that I alone had been cleanly photoshopped out, as if I had never existed at all. My hands shake, gripping the photo's edge so tightly it wrinkles. I understood 6 years of emptiness in an instant. To them, I was no longer family. I lean against the wall covered in basketball posters, fighting to keep my knees from buckling. The bookshelf Dad had handcrafted was gone, replaced by a gaming setup. Heavy blinds were drawn over the bay window he loved, completely blocking the garden view. I remember the weight of the house deed at Dad's funeral 6 years ago. Mom's smile as she said, "Leave the house to us until you graduate from college." I had been deceived by my family. The sounds from downstairs drift up. Greg's low voice, Mom's high-pitched laughter, Josh's game sounds. As if my existence had been unnecessary from the start, their lives revolve without me. I press the erased photo to my chest. In this study that still faintly holds the scent of Dad's pipe tobacco, I steel my resolve. I will take it back. This house, Dad's memory, and myself. With trembling fingers clutching the photo, I ask myself, where did it all go wrong? It all began just hours ago, with that front door that wouldn't open. 3 hours earlier, the key won't turn. Standing on the familiar front porch of my childhood with my suitcase and 3 cardboard boxes, I wrestle with the stubborn door. Dad always maintained this lock. Mom knew I was coming home today. After 6 years of college, graduate school, and internships, I'd finally returned home. The door suddenly swings inward. Greg stands there, his 6-foot frame blocking the entrance, wearing a faded Patriots t-shirt and jeans, quite casual for a Wednesday afternoon. His eyes widen with genuine surprise before he masks it. "Rachel, weren't you coming next week?" His voice is pitched too high, smile too tight. "I said today. We talked last week." I keep my tone light, but something cold settles in my stomach. Right. Memory isn't what it used to be. He reluctantly steps back. "Come in." The moment I step inside, I can't recognize my own house. Where Dad's ATI coat tree once stood in the entry hall, there's an unfamiliar console table. The warm gold walls have been painted stark white. Dad's nautical prints are gone, replaced by gray and black abstract paintings. My suitcase slips from my fingers, hitting the hardwood floor. "You redecorated." The words are inadequate to describe reality. Deborah wanted to freshen things up a bit. Greg runs his hand through his thinning hair. "You know how she is." I actually don't. When Dad was alive, Mom never cared about interior design. "Where's Mom?" "Shopping. Should be back soon." Greg glances at my luggage. "You know, Rachel, you might want to look at apartments soon. The rental market here is pretty competitive." I stare at him. "Apartments? A young professional like yourself would want your own space. Independence and all that." The implication hits me like ice water. He doesn't expect me to stay in my own house. Before I can respond, the front door opens. Mom bustles in with grocery bags. Her blonde hair grew shorter than I remember, more highlighted. She stops when she sees me, eyes darting nervously between me and Greg. "Rachel, you're here already." She sets the bags down and gives me a quick, hollow hug. "We were just talking about you this morning, weren't we, Greg?" Greg nods without meeting my eyes. "I was saying how Rachel might want to look at apartments." Mom's smile falters. "Well, no rush on that. You can stay in the guest room for now." The guest room, not my room. "Where are my things?" "From my bedroom." Mom's gaze shifts away. "We boxed up some things in the attic. Josh needed more space as he got older, so we gave him your room. It made sense since you were away at college." Something inside me cracks. "And Dad's study?" The nervous glance between them tells me everything before Mom speaks. "That's Josh's bedroom now. He's 15. He needed his privacy." "Your father's been gone 6 years, Rachel, 6 years." "I was 18. standing next to his casket when the lawyer handed me the deed to this house. Dad had left it to me, his only child, his daughter. The house he built with his own hands. Mom, I say carefully, could I see Dad's study? Josh's room? Mom's hands flutter nervously. It's completely different now. Nothing like you remember. I still want to see it. I walk through the transformed living room, past the kitchen with its new granite countertops, down the hallway. The door to Dad's study stands closed. I take a breath and push it open. Basketball posters, twin bed, gaming setup, Dad's desk, and bookshelves all gone, transformed into a teenager's room. Heavy blinds are drawn over the bay window he loved, completely blocking the garden view. Not a single trace of him remains. I stand motionless, absorbing the erasure of my father from his own home. The home he left to me. I remember the weight of the house deed at his funeral. The responsibility it represented. It's just for a while, Mom had said back then. Just until you finish college. We'll keep up the house for you. I trusted her. Trusted them. Over the years, I'd noticed small changes during holiday visits. Family photos disappearing. Dad's books vanishing from shelves. Greg subtly asserting ownership in comments about our house and our renovations. But whenever I voiced those anxieties, Mom would say tearfully, "Don't worry about the house. We're protecting it. You just focus on making your life shine, for Dad's sake too." Those words bound me like a spell. Desperate not to make Mom sad, I pushed down my knees and focused on my studies, believing that was what Dad would have wanted. I turn and find Mom watching me from the doorway, hands twisting together. "Rachel, we should talk." "Yes," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "We should." In the kitchen, Mom sits across from me, avoiding my eyes. Greg has conveniently disappeared. "What's going on?" I ask. "Why does Greg think I should get an apartment instead of living in my house?" Mom flinches at my house. "Greg believes, we thought." She takes a shaky breath. "Greg thinks the house belongs to us now." The world stops. The house Dad left to me in his will. The one I have the deed to. He says after 6 years of us living here, paying utilities, making improvements. Her voice trails off. "You knew," I whisper. The betrayal crushes my chest. "You knew it was still legally mine, and you let him believe he could take it from me." "I didn't know what to do," she admits, tears forming. "Greg was so insistent, and you were gone building your life. It just seemed easier to lie for 6 years?" My voice rises despite my efforts to contain it. To erase Dad from his own home? To let me believe everything was fine while you plotted to take my inheritance? Tears spill down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, Rachel. But sorry, can't rebuild 6 years of deception. Sorry, can't erase the choice you made every day to betray me, your own daughter. If you discovered your own family had been plotting to steal your inheritance for years, would you forgive them or would you fight back? My decision will change everything." The attic door creaks as I push it open. Cardboard boxes labeled Thomas Books, Thomas Navy, Thomas Photos in Mom's neat handwriting, a family archive tucked away like shameful secrets. From the nearest box, Dad's leather-bound copy of Moby Dick emerges, the one he read aloud to me every summer. The pages still hold the scent of his pipe tobacco. In the third box, I find what I'm looking for, D's file drawer. The house folder contains the original deed with my name on it, and a stack of mail addressed to me spanning the last 6 years, college alumni newsletters, credit card offers, vehicle registration confirmations, all opened, all hidden. Beneath these, a folder labeled Utilities catches my eye. Inside are 6 years of electric bills, water bills, property tax statements, all in Greg's name. Evidence of their deception. They'd been intercepting my mail, establishing Greg's residency, systematically erasing Dad while setting up a legal claim for adverse possession. "What are you doing up here?" Josh stands in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder. I straighten, letters still clutched in my hand, going through my father's things. His eyebrows pull together. Mom said not to mess with that stuff. I bet she did. I meet his gaze directly. Josh, did you know this house belongs to me legally? He shifts his weight, confusion flickering across his face. What are you talking about? This is our house. We've lived here since I was 9. Because my dad left it to me when he died, and I let Mom and Greg stay here while I was at college. They were supposed to be taking care of it for me until I came back. Josh's face hardens. That's not true. Dad bought this house. Is that what he told you? We fixed it up. We've paid the bills for years. His voice cracked slightly. My room was my dad's study that I finished for him. The study in the house he built with his own hands. That he left to his only daughter. Josh backs away, shaking his head. You're lying. His rejection stings more than I expected. During holiday visits, I'd helped him with math homework, brought him souvenirs from my travels, tried to be the big sister he never had. Now I'm a threat to everything he believes about his home. I have the deed, Josh, and his will. I hold up the papers. I'm not lying. They are. He turns and thunders down the stairs, calling for his father. Minutes later, I hear his bedroom door slam, music blasting through the walls, pulsing beats that vibrate through the floor. The universal language of teenage resentment. My phone buzzes. Megan's name flashes on the screen, my college roommate, now working at an accounting firm downtown. Rachel, I just got your text. Are you okay? I duck into what used to be the guest room and close the door. Not really, I whisper. The situation is worse than I thought. They've been plotting to take the house for years. Jesus, she pauses. Listen, my apartment has a spare bedroom. It's yours if you need it. Relief washes through me. Thanks, Meg. I might take you up on that while I sort this out. For how long? Until I get my house back. The determination in my voice surprises even me. After hanging up, I call my new boss at Mitchell Financial. I've only been there 3 days, but Douglas had been Dad's friend before he became my employer. Rachel, he answers warmly. Everything all right with the move? Actually, no. I explain the situation in clipped, professional terms. A long silence follows then. Take whatever time you need this week. Work remotely when you can. Your father would want me to help. Another lie added to my growing list. It's called adverse possession. Greg explains the next evening, leaning back in what used to be Dad's chair at the dining table. We've lived here for over 5 years, paid utilities, made improvements. While hiding my mail and pretending everything was fine, I keep my voice measured. That's mail fraud, Greg. A federal offense. He waves a dismissive hand. You're being dramatic. We were just keeping things organized until you settled down. By erasing my father from his own home? By moving your son into a study, I placed my phone on the table, recording light showing. Tell me more about how that was for my benefit. Mom reaches across the table, tears brimming in her eyes. Rachel, please, we're family. Everything we've done has been to provide stability for all of us, including you. Family doesn't do this. I slide a business card across the table. I spoke with Kenneth Bryant today, Dad's old friend from law school, remember? Greg's face flushes. You went behind our backs to a lawyer? I'm protecting what's mine. I meet his gaze steadily. Kenneth says adverse possession claims require hostile occupation. That means living there without the owner's permission. But you had my permissive occupation. Mom promised to maintain the house until I graduated from college. Remember? Your occupation was never legally hostile. So your claim was invalid from the start. The mask slips. Greg's eyes narrow, his mouth twisting with contempt. You ungrateful little. Greg. My mother cuts him off, then turns to me, her voice softening to that pleading tone I've always hated. Rachel, honey, think about what you're doing. We're the only family you have left. Would your father want you to tear us apart like this? The emotional manipulation is so transparent it almost makes me laugh. Don't you dare invoke Dad's wishes when you've spent 6 years erasing him from this house. Josh appears in the doorway, eyes red-rimmed, arms crossed defensively. So what happens to me? Do you even care? I meet his gaze. This isn't about you, Josh. It's my home too, his voice breaks. You disappear for years and suddenly we're supposed to just leave because of some paper? Not just some paper, the law. I stand, gathering the documentation spread across the table. You have 1 week to find a new place. I've already verified the will with the county clerk and confirmed my legal standing. The locks change on Friday. You can't just throw us out, Mom cries. Where will we go? The question catches in my chest, a barb of guilt amid the righteousness. But I think of Dad's books packed away in the attic, of the open mail, of 6 years of calculated deception. You've had 6 years to prepare for this day, Mom. I'm sure Greg has a plan. His silence tells me everything. I walk out, my heart hammering against my ribs, but my steps steady. For the first time since coming home, I feel something like power returning. Dad always said that people who take what isn't theirs count on you being too polite to demand it back. I'm done being polite. Family meeting, kitchen, 8 p.m. tonight. Greg's text arrives at 7 a.m. I place my phone face down on the hotel desk and continue typing up my eviction timeline. The audacity, summoning me to a family meeting in my own house. The house where I'm currently not welcome to sleep. The locksmith arrives at 9 a.m. sharp. All exterior doors, he confirms, and I'll need 6 sets of keys. While he works, I drive to the county clerk's office with my folder of documents. Dad's will, the property deed, my identification. Property taxes are current, the clerk notes. Utility accounts are being transferred today. Each item on my list gets checked off with purpose. By afternoon, I'm meeting with Dad's old lawyer Derek in his downtown office. He slides the eviction notices across his desk. This gives them exactly 1 week, he explains. The law allows for longer, but given the circumstances, I sign where indicated. With each signature, the tightness that's lived in my chest since I tried my key and the lock loosens just a fraction. At 8 p.m., I walk into what used to be my kitchen. Greg sits at the head of the table, Dad's place. Mom's eyes are already red-rimmed. Josh slouches against the counter, glaring. Sit down, Rachel, Greg says, using his boardroom voice. I remain standing. This won't take long. This, Mom sniffles, is about family. Is it? I place my leather portfolio on the table. Because family doesn't conspire to steal from each other. Josh pushes off from the counter. You're destroying everything. This is my home. No, Josh, it's not. I keep my voice level. And that's not your fault. But it is the reality. Greg leans forward, elbows on the table. Rachel, be reasonable. We've lived here for 6 years, put money into improvements. Under adverse possession, which requires hostile occupation by someone the true owner is unaware of, I cut him off, sliding the first document across the table. We exchanged emails about the house. I have proof I was aware of and permitted your residence here. Your adverse possession claim would never stand. His face blushes deep red. And here, I continue, placing down the second document, is the eviction notice. 1 week. Mom gasps. 1 week? Where are we supposed to go? That's not my concern. The words taste metallic, but necessary. You've had 6 years to prepare for this day. Greg stands abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. You ungrateful little. I wouldn't. I meet his gaze. The property is now under surveillance. Any damage, any items removed that aren't personal belongings, will result in additional legal action. The mask slips completely. In his eyes, I see the calculation, the fury of a man whose scheme is collapsing. You'll regret this, he hisses. I nod once. Probably. But I'll regret it in my house. The next morning, Allison from work arrives with coffee and determination. Where do we start? She asks, surveying the living room. I hadn't expected this. Colleagues I've known for barely 3 weeks showing up with moving boxes and cleaning supplies. Dad's study, I answer. My study. Colleagues from the financial firm arrive with takeout and determination. Marisol arranges my kitchen supplies while David and Kim hang Dad's nautical prints back in their rightful places. My aunt went through something similar, Marisol says. The court shut down her brother's claim. The neighbors keep stopping by, Kim adds. That older gentleman brought over what he said were your dad's garden tools. Everyone's being incredibly supportive, David says. You know what that means? They knew what was happening wasn't right. My phone rings. Josh's name flashing on the screen. I silence it, not ready for that conversation yet. From the window, I spot Greg and my mother arguing in their packed car. I can't hear the words, but their gestures tell enough. Her head is in her hands, his face tight with fury. Even from this distance, I can see the cracks forming in their united front. The phone buzzes again. A text from Josh. Did Dad really try to sell the house? Is that true? Another message arrives before I can respond. This one from my mother. I'm so sorry, Rachel. I never should have let this happen. Can we talk? Just us? I set the phone down without replying. Through the front window, I watch their car finally pull away, Greg's angry profile visible through the windshield. My mother's silhouette slumped beside him. My new house keys feel solid in my palm, new keys for new locks. When I discovered what Greg had been planning for my father's home, I knew there was no going back. The final confrontation would change everything. I closed the curtains and turned back to my friends, my new family, who continue restoring my father's memory to these walls. The final confrontation, the doorbell rings at exactly 10:17 a.m. I've been expecting this. Through the window, I spot Greg's silver Audi in my driveway. Deborah slumped in the passenger seat, face angled away from the house. Josh stands awkwardly beside Greg on my porch, hands shoved deep in his oversized hoodie pockets, shoulders hunched. I take a steadying breath, my father's watch heavy on my wrist, and open the door. Rachel, Greg forces a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. We've come to pick up a few things. I wasn't expecting you until this afternoon. I block the doorway, one hand still on the knob. Plans changed. He gestures to the house behind me. We won't take long. There are just some items that belong to us. I noticed the rental truck parked across the street. Nitty, just a few things then. What items specifically? Greg's smile tightens. The dining room set, for one, Deborah's grandmother's. And the antique mirror in the hallway. My father's mirror. The one he restored himself. I raise an eyebrow. And the dining set he built for his and Mom's 5th anniversary? Josh looks up sharply, confusion crossing his face. Deborah remembers it differently, Greg says, shifting his weight. I'm sure she does. I step back, allowing them entry. Come in. Let's discuss this properly. They follow me to the living room. Josh trails behind, eyes darting around the transformed space. I've spent the past week restoring my father's presence, photographs back on the walls, his books returned to shelves, his favorite chair angled toward the window as it always was. I have something to show you, I say, retrieving a folder from the side table. Greg remains standing, arms crossed. We don't need paperwork, Rachel. We just need to get our things and go. Actually, you do need to see this. I extract a document, handing it to him. This is my father's will, specifying every item of significance in this house, including the dining set and hallway mirror, both specifically left to me. His eyes narrow as he scans the page. And this, I continue, extracting another document, is the appraisal of those items from when my father died. And this, another paper, is the insurance coverage specifying them as heirlooms protected under my policy. Josh steps closer, peering at the documents in Greg's hands. Dad's will, insurance certificates. There it was, the Deborah's grandmother's heirloom, that his father always bragged about, clearly listed as an inheritance from Rachel's father. In Josh's mind, his father's words collided with the evidence before his eyes. Which was true? Dad, his voice carried the sound of a believed world crumbling. Greg ignores him. This doesn't change anything. We've maintained these items for years. Maintain them while living rent-free in my home, I remind him. And there's something else you should know. I walk to the small security camera mounted in the corner of the living room. I've installed these throughout the house, including one in my father's study that recorded you last week searching through the remaining documents in his desk. The color drains from Greg's face. I also have copies of the emails you sent to Riverdale Realty 3 months ago, I say, pulling out printed emails with his name clearly visible. The ones discussing selling this house, my house, after I agreed to the arrangement you were planning to propose. Josh's head snaps toward his father. You are going to sell the house? You said we were just moving to something smaller because… Josh, wait in the car. Greg's voice cuts like steel. No. Josh steps away from him. You told me Rachel was being selfish, that she was trying to kick us out after we took care of her house for years. That's what he needed you to believe. I tell Josh gently. Just like he needed Mom to believe she was doing what was best for everyone. The front door opens and Deborah finally appears, eyes red-rimmed, arms wrapped around herself. She looks smaller somehow, diminished. Greg, please, let's just go, she says, not meeting my eyes. We don't own anything here. His head whips toward her in disbelief. What did you say? I said it's over. Her voice strengthened slightly. I never should have let this happen. Rachel's right about everything. Mom, I start, surprised by her intervention. Greg jerks away from her touch. After everything I've done for you, for that ungrateful son of yours, Josh flinches as if struck. For us? Deborah's laugh holds no humor. You were planning to sell Rachel's home out from under all of us. Where exactly did you think we'd go with that money, Greg? The silence that follows her question tells us everything. Get out, I say quietly, power settling into my bones. All of your belongings were moved to the garage yesterday. Take them and leave. Greg's face contorts with fury, but faced with 3 pairs of eyes, mine steady, Deborah's resigned. Josh is betrayed. He finds no leverage. This isn't over, he spits, storming toward the door. It is for me, I reply. Deborah lingers, tears streaming silently down her face. Rachel, I'm so sorry for everything. I don't answer. 6 years of betrayal can't be erased with a single apology. She follows Greg out, shoulders bent under the weight of her choices. Josh stands frozen in the middle of my living room, caught between worlds. I didn't know, he says finally. About any of it. I believe you, I tell him, because I do. But that doesn't change what happens now. He nods, understanding but not accepting, and turns to go. At the doorway, he pauses. Would it be okay if I texted you sometime? The question hangs between us, complicated and raw. Through the window, I watch Greg throwing boxes into the rental truck, Deborah standing helplessly beside the car. I don't know yet, I answer honestly. Josh nods again and walks out the door, closing it softly behind him. I stand in the entryway of my father's house, my house, breathing in the quiet that follows their departure. For the first time in 6 years, I feel the foundation solid beneath my feet. The walls truly mine. The inheritance my father left me, not just the structure, but the strength to reclaim it, settles around me like a protective embrace. I turn the deadbolt with a satisfying click. Epilogue. 2 months later, I can finally breathe within these walls. The scent of lemon oil permeates the air as natural light pours through uncovered windows. I've stripped away the cold white paint, restoring Dad's warm gold. The weekends since they left have been devoted to resurrection. Not renovation, memory. In Dad's study, the nautical prints hang in their original places. His leather chair sits by the bay window, and when evening light falls across the pages, I sometimes feel the weight of his hand on my shoulder. The doorbell chimes. Just let yourself in, I call. Voices fill the entryway. May from the financial firm, Davis from next door, and Sarah, my college roommate. The same dining room where Greg once suggested I find an apartment now hums with genuine laughter. Later, after everyone has gone, I sit on the porch swing with tea, watching fireflies from the garden I've brought back to life. Dad's roses are blooming again after years of neglect. My phone chimes with a text notification. Josh's name appears. Can we talk sometime when you're ready? No pressure. I don't respond immediately. Dr. Levini helped me understand that healing doesn't require immediate forgiveness, that boundaries aren't just walls but foundations. 3 unopened letters from Mom sit in my desk drawer. I'm not ready yet, but not ready isn't the same as never. The neighbor across the street waves, the woman who had safeguarded Dad's garden tools. I trace my fingers along the porch railing Dad built, feeling every whorl and grain of the wood. The house settles around me with familiar creaks as twilight deepens. Through the window, I can see Dad's photograph watching over the empty dining room. The echo of laughter still hangs in the air. Some houses are just buildings. This one is my inheritance, not just of property, but of who I am. Dad left me more than a house. He left me the courage to reclaim myself. The last fireflies blink in the garden as stars begin to appear. Tomorrow there will be more restoration work. But tonight, simply being home is enough.